Everything happens for a reason, and everybody's story is different. Those are two things that I have come to realize and really grasp over the last 7.5 years. I started my own health and fitness journey just for me. It was a complete secret. I didn't tell a living soul, but I started in February of 2012. I had no idea how a secretive decision was going to impact my life, not just at the moment, but for years to come. So when I decided to cut alcohol out of my life, I was already several years into my health and fitness journey. And what I have found on social media is that there are so many people out there who start their sobriety journey, and then once they learn to value themselves and they have all this time on their hands, they start to really focus on their fitness and increasing their health. For me, I did it opposite. There's not a lot of people out there like me that have done it reverse. But I finally realized that like my party lifestyle was really not working in conjunction with the goals I had set. But it really doesn't matter because everybody's story is different and everybody's journey is different, even if you have the same outcome you're going after. But for me, sobriety changed everything because it made me get more intentional on my health, on my fitness. It made my workouts much better. It improved my eating incredibly. Like, there's something about when you're partying, you just don't give a shit. You are up late, you're not eating regularly, you're around people who obviously don't have the same goals as you if you're focused on health and fitness. I know when I started my health and fitness journey, I was all about eating healthy. I stopped smoking, I quit drinking, and then slowly I started to go back to my old lifestyle because I thought that I could do too. And you really can't. Not the type of partying that I was doing. So for me, I found that where I was in my own health and fitness journey as a coach really helped me get sober. Because here's the thing, when I got started on my health and fitness journey, I didn't tell a living soul. I didn't tell my best friend. I didn't tell my children. I didn't tell my husband. It was in complete secrecy because I had such low self-esteem, because I was so afraid of failure. I was so afraid of people judging me, making fun of me. And I was afraid of stuff that I didn't even realize that I was afraid of. But once I started working out, every workout that I completed, every day that I successfully got closer to who I wanted to be and where I wanted to be, my confidence grew. And then that in turn led me to stepping up and using my story and social media as a platform to help other people. With that, over time, my confidence grew. I found my voice. I found my purpose. I had direction. I felt passionate about what I was doing. So it gave me the ability to speak about my life with confidence. And I started sharing even more about my life that went way above the health and fitness journey. I shared some deep, dark secrets, which like once I aired those things out, it was like this huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. Because here's the thing is like, if you beat everybody to the punch, it's less scary because it's not that thing looming over your head that like, oh my God, if somebody, leaks this piece of information about me or my personality or my past, my whole life's going to come apart. So I had built up this strength, this courageousness. And so when I decided to let go of the party lifestyle, of that side of me, it was easy to talk about it because I had already been talking about my life and everybody knew that I was a party girl. So it was, no secret that I was, heavily into recreation and fun and numbing myself and being that wild, crazy person. And so when I made that choice, it wasn't like, oh, this is shocking. And so I had all this support and I was already being held accountable to so many things in my life. This was just another thing. And this was just another chapter to my life. And what I've found is that as I'm approaching my 4th year of sobriety, more and more people are coming forward and telling me like, you have played a huge part in me getting sober. And what's funny is so many people have never said anything. They've never liked a post. They've never commented. They've never asked a question. They've just apparently taken what I've shared and applied whatever I've been sharing to their life, or it's caused them to question things about their daily routine or their relationship with alcohol. And they've done it. And I had a girl that recently reached out to me and shared this with me and said that she was approaching her 2-year sobriety anniversary, which was last Wednesday. And so I was like, oh my God, I didn't know. And so I understand that sharing my story openly isn't really for everybody else. I did encourage her to share her story because, you know, she admittedly said that my story had inspired her. So she actually did share her story live on Facebook last week, and it was really amazing to watch. And I was so proud of her. And I know that her story is going to help other people. But people have asked me, like, what have you done? And I'm the type of person that, like, I can make something and people are like, oh my God, that's so good. Like, can you give me the recipe? I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I just did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that's kind of my life. And I know that that's worked against me because in my head, I'm thinking like all of these things have happened by accident to me. Like I don't have a system. I'm not organized like other people. But I started really thinking about what I was doing because so many people asked me for help. And then I realized that I have helped people along the way. So maybe I could come up with a system or some steps. And so I'll just tell you, in short, kind of rundown of what I did. Like I just decided I needed to get sober, because I realized that what I was doing was not serving me. And this could go for anything outside of, addiction. Just anything that you're doing that's not serving you, you have to look at it and be like, is this getting me closer to where I want to be? And that's one thing that I've learned about setting goals is like you identifying where you want to be. And if you truly want to be there, you have to look at, is everything you're doing every single fucking day moving you closer or taking you further away? And for me, I knew where I wanted to be financially. I knew where I wanted to be health-wise. I knew how I wanted my relationships to be. I knew how I wanted my family structure to be. And the alcohol was the common denominator of what was causing me pain. And when I looked at it, I looked at the pain that had caused me years in the past. And the pain was causing me right now. And I had to take a step back and say, where was I now then and where am I now? And then it's like, oh fuck, if I don't change anything, where am I going to be 5 years from now and 10 years from now? And when I made the decision to quit drinking, my life was in shambles and I was working towards getting better. And I realized if I don't stop this cycle, if I don't change things about my life, it's only going to get worse, because clearly alcohol was not the solution. It was not making anything better. And I was using it to numb myself to things that I just didn't want to face, I didn't feel like I could face, and things that I was hoping would just go away. And I always liken alcohol or drugs or any type of thing that you're using to numb the situation that you're trying to avoid that's causing you pain or discomfort, it like an epidural. Like an epidural, I know when I was in labor with all 3 of my kids, well, I didn't have an epidural with my first one, which was horrible. But with my 2 kids that I had an epidural with, when they did it, it was like it localized the pain and it stopped the problem there. Whereas alcohol and drugs, anything that you're using to numb yourself, it doesn't just numb that one thing you're trying to avoid. It literally fucks up your whole entire life because you just stop giving a fuck about everything. You become distracted. You're using your time and energy on things that aren't serving you. And so it might help you avoid that painful thing, but I'm telling you, it's going to influence so many other things on a negative way. And then it may feel like it's not doing, that it's not a big deal now. But if you compound those over the course of, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it can make a huge difference. So everything you're doing is because of the decisions you're making. Maybe not today, but from 3 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago. And so I had to really take a look at why it wasn't serving me and identify the pain that it was causing, the way it was fucking up my life, how it was fucking up other people's lives who didn't ask to be part of my lifestyle. And then I just decided I'm going to do it. And then I held myself accountable. For me, people have asked me if I go to AA, if I've read any books, if I have, listened to any podcasts. I just made the decision to quit. And not everybody, maybe that's not enough for everybody, but for me, it was. But holding myself accountable, knowing that I never wanted to show up and say, hey, I had to start back on day one, was something. I knew that I was helping people. I knew that people were watching me. I know because people reach out to me on a weekly basis, telling me their stories about their childhood, maybe as a child of somebody, who used or abused alcohol. And so that was something where I was like, I don't want to do that to my kids. I don't want to do that to other people. I want to always show people that there's a way, there's a solution. You could always change where you want. You're just one decision away from another life. So for me, that's what worked for me. I understand not everybody's willing to be open, but for me, that was what worked for me. And I celebrated every day as a win. And that's something that even on my health and fitness journey, I lost 35 pounds. For me, whenever I was experiencing lots of health issues and become insulin resistant from having PCOS, I couldn't look and say, oh my God, I have over 30 pounds to lose, because that can be defeating. I'm just like, let's focus on 2 pounds at a time. For me, it's 1 day at a time. Every day is a celebration. And in anything in life that you're trying to achieve, you really have to just focus on each day, one step in front of the other, instead of getting ahead of yourself, because most of the time we always know what we need to do. You know what you need to do to be more productive. You know what you need to do to have a better relationship. You know what you need to do to get at a healthy weight and stay there. You know all the things, but what fucks people up the most is they look at everything they have to do, and then they start thinking like, I have to do it all at once, and then they start thinking about everything they're losing. So it's really important to focus on 1 day at a time and really celebrate each day as a success, and look at what benefits you have. For me, it was just the small things that every day I started to acknowledge the things that I could do, the things that I could do better, the things that I was experiencing for the first time. And when I was tripped up of like, being tempted, and the first year was hard because I'd only known a certain lifestyle. It was hard. And it was even harder the first year or the second year than the first year, because you start thinking like, I got this, I'm fine, I'm so far away from that lifestyle, I could do it. And even now, approaching my 4-year anniversary, there are times where I'm like, maybe I could have a glass of champagne. And then I really have to take a step back and look like, Mindy, you could, but where would you be 6 months from now? And chances are that one glass of champagne, that one beer, that one drink would lead to my old lifestyle, one drink at a time, one bad decision at a time. And so it's really important to really look at the benefits, weigh the consequences of your actions, whether it's, a step in the right direction or going backwards. And so those are just some little tips that I have for you that are sober curious, or those of you that are feeling alone in your journey, or just trying to figure out how to stay on track. And if you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, I don't have any certain system. I just know the things that I have applied to my mindset, that I have employed over and over again to try to get to where I want to be and help others along the way.